我们都在轰轰烈烈的，站起来，站起来。Welcome to the 292nd edition of China Now with your gang of two, Nan Su, who is the senior investigative reporter for Epoch Times, and yours truly, Michael Olson, who long ago was dissuaded from becoming a China hand by the great helmsman himself, Mao Zedong. Each week, Nansu and I look out across the broad expanse of the Pacific Ocean from our home port here at SantaCruzVoice.com, and we ask, China now, friend or foe, war or peace? Ni hao, Nansu?
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending where you are.
We're everywhere. We are everywhere, Nansu. So, speaking of everywhere, Secretary of State Marco Rubio is flying off to the Middle East to sell, I guess, Donald Trump's memo of understanding with the Iranians. It appears as though the Arab nations are kind of skeptical about this memo of understanding. What on earth could they possibly be frightened about?
Well, the people worry about that we gave too much to the Iran without a solid promise from the regime. I kind of understand that's what's going on. But however, if you think about all these nations, remember in the last months during the fight, the battle still going on. There are several scenarios when President Trump was answering the media questions, and he mentioned that all these GC countries like Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and UAE, they are the ones they're calling. They're calling, try to stop the fight of U.S. military.
Yes, don't shoot, don't shoot. Wait a minute. Shoot, shoot, please. That's
It's
kind of
it's
been the way
it's
it's been,
hard
right?
to
So, that given that play, it's not hard to see how anybody would be skeptical of any kind of memo of understanding that the Iranians would possibly sign, because when have they ever agreed and complied with whatever it was they agreed with? I mean, for we've seen 47 years of making agreements and then breaking it, and without so much as a by your leave. So, in effect, why would anybody believe whatever Iran signs is going to be what happens?
uh-huh. Well, it's Trump is playing by ear. I don't know nobody knows what's going to happen next.
Makes it interesting, don't you think?
Yep.
So that gives us something to keep our eye open. And that's what we're doing today. We're wondering how this is all going to shake out. The oil is flowing out of the Gulf. The price of oil is going down here in the United States. Um, I suspect China's happy because it's getting some oil now out of
Hmm.
Iran. I don't know what they're paying for it. It should be noted that China was getting an extraordinary good deal on Iranian oil because Iran was sanctioned by the rest of the world and couldn't sell oil anywhere except to China. So China got a great deal on the Iranian oil, getting 20% off the list price, I guess. So they're able to run their factories on very cheap oil and therefore outcompete anybody else. So I guess in many respects, China was doing pretty good by having everybody sanction Iran.
Yeah, it's true. And then China is the main enemy, and if you put the China into the picture, then all of a sudden you see that the MOU is not bad at all. We need to, well, the only problem is how much we can put our trust on the Iranian regime. That could be the only problem.
Which is a pretty big problem because they can always crawl back in the hole and wait for the world to transpire. But that is where we're at. No wonder the Arabs are skeptical. No wonder Marco Rubio is trying to assuage their fears, as it were. Uh, and good luck to him on that's a tough job. I don't know what you would say to make them feel more secure about this arrangement.
Yeah, well, see, the only real concern is the nuclear part of Iranian regime. It's not anything else. So if the nuclear part can be arranged and solved, then I think everything so far happened has it's good. But if we're not able to solve the nuclear part, then I would say the deal failed.
I have a question for you that popped into my mind when I was thinking about the a nuclear armed Iran. If Iran were to get the nuclear weapon, do you think Taiwan should get one too?
Yeah, if they want it, I would say Taiwan can get its nuclear weapon and South Korea too. Why not?
Why
Right?
not? Yeah.
The problem is this nuclear proliferation program. Really, only the good countries they actually trying to be in compliance of those the treaties they sign, while all these bad actors they don't. They,
That's the deal. The good countries are friends. People who
right.
live have by a moral and legal code tend to comply with them. But those who do not, and the Chinese Communist Party does not have a moral code other than the survival of the Chinese Communist Party. At least that's what I see. Am I wrong there?
It's true. The Chinese Communist Party, well, this is our number one threat. We have to always keep that in mind.
So we're right back to where we started. Before Trump took on Venezuela and Iran and curtailed the free flow of cheap oil to China. And now we're facing up with China again. And what do we see this week? We see this Chinese People's Liberation Army Navy sailing their Fujian aircraft carrier through the Taiwan Strait. Now, the Fujian, of course, is their newest best carrier, modeled after all of the technology they stole from the United States to build an aircraft carrier. And so the Fujian settled through the Taiwan Strait this week for the first time since December, and a transit that coincided with ongoing Chinese or Taiwanese exercises and U.S.-led drills elsewhere in the Pacific. So a lot of activity, naval activity going on in the Pacific. So it seems like a lot of attention is being redirected toward China's way now that there's been a memo of understanding signed for the governorship of the Taiwan or the Hormuz Strait. So we can now turn to the Taiwan Strait, and that seems to be where the attention is going this week.
Yes, well, Taiwan is always there. It's always the hottest place in the world nowadays for a possible war that's going to break out. Uh, I think that a part of the reason that Trump doesn't want to continue the war against Iran in the Middle East, it's really the consideration of what's going on in the Western Pacific, and plus. Our munition has been way down ever since this Iranian military operation started. I think that's a major concern.
Yeah, I think it is a major concern, and I think it was a concern that was coldly calculated by Trump before he took on the endeavor of bombing Iran into oblivion. He probably sat there with his military advisors and said, well, how much do we have? How much ammunition do we have? How much can we afford to spend in Iran? And will we have enough left over should a kinetic action take place in the Taiwan Strait? So I suspect uh, he ran up against his limit and said, okay, it's time to work out something here so we can move forward. But who knows what that
Well, see, the problem is once they have a nuclear weapon, it could be a huge problem, right? So as
it
long
will
as
be where the world is guaranteed that if Iran gets a nuclear weapon, it will be a major problem for everybody.
that's right. So as long as they don't get nuclear weapon, I think there's the main goal of this military operation is achieved.
Achieved, yeah. And that was probably a big bargaining chip that they put on the table in their discussions with the Iranians. Look, we don't want anything but for you not to get a nuclear weapon. So if you don't have a nuclear weapon and decide to behave yourself, we'll welcome you into the world of nations. You should be among the world's greatest, as the Persian Empire once was. What the heck happened to you? Why are you living in the dirt like you are? You could be something, you know.
Yeah.
So I suspect that is something that they could sell to the Iranian people, but not so much the IRGC.
Yeah, we don't know what's going to happen the next. So only the people in those in the room, making the negotiation knows what's going on.
Okay, so going back, excuse me, to the Taiwan Strait, we have the Fujian, which is the mega aircraft carrier of the Chinese fleet, steaming down through the Taiwan Strait, showing the flags, as it were, at a time when Taiwan is doing exercises for itself, defensive exercises. And there it is. And this is also at a time when RimPac is kicking off. It's one of its biggest naval exercises ever. Your story?
Yeah, yeah. Remember RimPac? RimPac is a rim of Pacific. The kind of military exercise led by the U.S. U.S. military. It take place every 2 years. Actually, in 2014 and 2016, that the U.S. military invited China's military join the RimPac military exercise. But after that, it became really clear China is the main threat, and the U.S. government's China policy started changing the direction. So ever since 2018, China no longer a part of the uh, once 2 years military exercise. Now this year,
It's been excluded from being a part of the rim of the Pacific,
that's right.
at least in terms of this naval exercise. Not physically or geographically, but in terms of this exercise. You're out of here.
Yeah, this year's RimPac military exercise named partners. So there are 31 countries joining. There are the European countries, South American countries, as well as Asian Pacific countries, like South Korea, Japan, the Philippines, Australia, New Zealand, and some of the European countries, and so that the commander of a U.S. Naval Force Third Fleet, it's the commanding officer of the whole military exercise, and then there's a deputy commander from Japan, and that there was a vice commander from Chile. And while the maritime exercise, it's been put under the charge of South Korea, military officer and the Air Force, the air um, exercise. It's being responsible by the Canadian military officers. So you can see it's kind of like a partnering of all these countries, total 40 naval ships, and plus five submarines and 140 aircrafts joining this year's. It's one of the largest RimPac military exercise. Now, if you look at it, there's four different groups, right? You have a maritime exercise under South Korea military commanding officer, and then there is a deputy commanding officer for the whole thing from Japan, and now and then that's the two commanding officers from the front, which is right at the doorstep of China. And then you have a Canadian military officer in charge of the air uh, exercise, and then Chile military commanding officer serve as a vice commander. That's the two in the back. That's the you have two countries in the front and two countries in the back. And specifically, if you look at how this whole thing is arranged, now you think about this. Now, ever since Trump become the president of the United States, the first thing is he took the control of Canada, Panama Canal back right
Right. Step
into
number one,
yeah, that's step number one. And then this year, he had a military operation in Venezuela, right? Which you change the political landscape in the Caribbean Sea area. And also later last year in 2025, I forgot either September or October, U.S. military reactivate the military base in Puerto Rico. So basically, all that operation secure the Central America, that region, and the Panama Canal. So now then they're, inviting Chile, uh, you know, to be the vice commanding officer.
which
Uh,
is certainly a member of the rim of the Pacific when it gets right down to it.
well, you think about that if you want to travel between the Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, if you don't use Panama Canal, what are you going to do?
All the
You're
way
going
around
to,
Cape Horn.
yeah, yeah. Once you get there, and which country is there? That's Chile, right?
Really, yeah.
Yeah, so they kind of like map this thing, whole thing out, and then carefully choose the detail of this operation. You can see,
Massive amount of
so the
planning.
adversary is really China. That's the
Yeah.
way it is.
Well, and ostensibly, if push comes to shove and things go kinetic, China would then be facing all of these nations and probably would have Russia to help, but Russia's not much of a help anymore. So it would be principally China and what, North Korea
Yeah, China
against
and North
everybody?
Korea, yes. Well, basically, you goes to the four bad guys: China, North Korea, Russia, and Iran, right? That's all it is. All these guys, they are the problem, and China is the main threat. And so far, we can just because China's economy is has been going down ever since 2023, and they really try to focus to solving their own problem. So but it doesn't mean the Western Pacific is safe. So that's why all these countries try to get together, prepare for the next fight.
Yes. And it would be a magnificent exercise if you think about all of the ships. What was that, 300 ships?
40 ships. 40
Oh,
ships,
30
31
surface ships.
countries, 40 ships plus 5 submarine and 140 aircraft.
So there's a massive amount of people and equipment and countries to organize. And yet, once you start doing these exercises and learning how to work together and learning how to follow the orders of somebody from another country that you're cooperating with, then you really do have something going so that if things do go kinetic, you're able to work together to better manage it. So I suspect that when China looks at RimPac naval exercises in conjunction with the defensive activities being put on by Taiwan, then it would be a good time to sail the Fujian through the Taiwan Strait, just to let everybody know that you're still there and still thinking of them, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah, of course.
Now, the Fujian is the latest carrier that was built by China, named after the province that is right across the strait from Taiwan.
Mm-hmm.
So the intention is clear. Here comes the Fujian. What are you going to do about it? What can you
Well,
do to?
well, they actually just finished another military drill. Right now it's just horrible. They kind of like they have military drill almost like if not
Continually?
yeah, if not on a daily basis, at least on the weekly basis, another aircraft carrier Liaoning just sails through the Bashi Channel. That's the strait between south part of China, Taiwan, and the northern part of the Philippines. So they just went back. The Liaoning aircraft carrier led the naval fleet just sailed through and went back to China. Now they have Fujian coming, and yeah, it's really a daily basis. They really get them used to the whole region, to be fully prepared and ready to fight.
So I guess you might call it they're flying the flag and letting everybody know that they're there and mean business. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is the 292nd edition of China Now. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I'd like to have Non-Su's impression on what it would take to be a Taiwanese citizen and look across that 100-mile strait to a giant of a nation, the giant dragon, fire-breathing dragon, that is always right there claiming that it's going to come and eat you. What kind of personality does it take to live in that kind of place that is Taiwan, as exemplified by Taiwan's vice president, who is one very interesting character, whom we will meet when we get back from these short messages. So please do stay tuned.
Satisfy your hunger with a fresh, prepared, twice daily grab-and-go sushi you'll find waiting for you at Sushi Market Sprouts, 2 blocks from the beach at 300 7th Avenue in Santa Cruz. Fresh, delicious, and oh so good.
Hello, I'm Junko, and I look forward to serving you at the Sushi Market Sprouts.
Satisfy your hunger right now with the delicious ramen and sushi you'll find waiting for you at Kaito, easy in and out location in the Capitola Mall food court. Special orders welcome. Fresh, delicious, and oh so good.
This is Koji. I'm looking forward to seeing you at my restaurant, Kaito.
California coast to the fertile valleys inland. Earthwise Land Service is your land's best friend. Earthwise can clear it, mulch it, move it, sculpt it, grade it, drain it, or retain it, any way you choose. Earthwise Land Service is your land's best friend.
Hi, I'm Carolyn, and I have some property behind my home at Larkin Valley that I've never seen. It was completely overgrown with brush and poison oak, well over 10 feet high. I wanted to have it cleared to protect my horses from wildfires, but nobody could do the job. Then I called Buck at Earthwise. Buck brought out his big brush-eating machine and turned all the brush and poison oak into mulch. It was truly transformational. Thanks to Earthwise, my property is now like a park and I can trail ride my horses.
Earthwise Land Services, your land's best friend.
There is more than one way to enjoy the benefits of cannabis. Hi, I'm Carly from Treehouse Dispensary, 3651 SoCal Drive, SoCal. With tinctures. Treehouse tinctures are available in many different flavors, are rapid acting and versatile, and offer precise dosage control for consistent enjoyment. Treehouse has a friendly staff to help you select the right tincture for your needs. Blue raspberry, anyone? Stop by and say hi. Treehouse Dispensary, 3651 SoCal Drive, SoCal.
Or ourtreehouse.io.
How 我们为了来的，我们是中国现在. China Now with your gang of two, Nansu and Michael Olson. Wondering what it's like to look across a narrow bit of water, Taiwan Strait, 100 miles, no big deal, and see a giant dragon over there that keeps pawing the earth and snorting fire and threatening to come and eat you up. Such is the nature of those who must live in Taiwan, and yet they seem to be doing pretty good living in Taiwan. I often think, Nansu, that the greatest threat Taiwan poses to China is as an example of what freedom can do for people.
That's right. It is. China look at it. China look at Taiwan as a threat mainly because Chinese Communist Party always trying to brainwash Chinese people in China, saying, the Western democracy doesn't fit to Chinese culture. But yet, you look at Taiwan and you look at other countries around China with similar cultures with China, like Japan, South Korea, Singapore. Hey, they all had a democracy. They all have freedom. And then why why not China, right? So in Taiwan, it just then you look at the technology and you look at the freedom and you look at, and especially if you look at Taiwan's healthcare system, is just tremendous. It's tremendous. It's a great example to a lot of countries.
And its people are
Yeah, of course.
pretty happy.
Yeah, happy. It's culture, and then it's prosperity. It's just great.
Well, the reason I bring this up today is that our attention has been called to the vice president of China, Xiao Bi-kim.
No. Taiwan, not China.
So I'm sorry. Thank you. Yes, the Republic of China.
Yes, the Republic of China, which is one, right?
Vice President Xiao Bi-kim, who was an ambassador from Taiwan to the United States
prior to 2020, until 2024, until
yeah. And she became vice president.
And then she became a vice president. Prior to she became vice president of Taiwan. She served as ambassador to the United States for a couple of years.
She's a very interesting ambassador too, because her mother is from North Carolina.
That's correct.
And her father is Taiwanese. And she is very well spoken.
Yes, her father was I think it's a Christian church priest, I think.
Oh, okay. There you go. In Taiwan. And
yeah. She was born, I think she was actually born in Japan at the time. Her father worked in Japan.
Oh, okay.
And then they moved back to Taiwan. She grew up in Taiwan until her, I believe, I forgot which year, but it's one of her middle school years. She came back. they moved to United States. They live in New Jersey. That's the place she went through. She got her high school diploma, and then she graduated. She was in, I forgot which university in the United States, and then she got in this program to help Taiwan in UN. So she went back to Taiwan, actually, tried to become an intern. Um, and then later, eventually, she decides to move back to Taiwan. That's how her own that's a full of miracles, a lot of change in her life.
Well, I watched an interview of her by Jan Jekielek from Epoch Times television, and I found her to be an incredibly interesting person. And what she did is, Jekyll says, "Hey, how in the heck are you doing this? How do you contend against China? How do you contend against the big bully in the neighborhood? How do you contend against the wolf warriors of China?" And she, in a very articulate way, talked about how she thought of herself not so much as a wolf warrior, but as a cat warrior. So I'm obviously not as big as China. Taiwan is not as big as China. We're small, we're humble, we're quiet, we're peaceful. We like to go about our own business like a cat. But by golly, we have some pretty sharp claws when we need to use them. And so I got to thinking it would almost take a kind of personality to live under the constant oppressive nature of the threatening CCP, who's always right there threatening and threatening and threatening. Now, we saw the leadership of the Taiwan opposition go to Beijing and kind of kiss the ring of Beijing, of CCP, and then come back to Taiwan and then go to the United States and say, we've got to learn how to get along with this CCP. Her pitch, soften up, America, because they're not such bad people. Reminds me of Joe Biden. Come on, folks. They're not such bad people over there. But at any rate, we had these two women contending for our attention. And I thought it was very interesting to see the strength both of them embody. And it was kind of refreshing to see somebody from the ROC side go to Washington, D.C., as well as somebody from the Beijing side. So in these two women, we have the contention of the Taiwanese people right there for one and all to see. So I guess if you have the opportunity to catch a conversation with the vice president, Bo Kim, give her a listen. Find some hope there, I think.
Yeah. Well, I think she has been very successful to develop the diplomatic relation between Taiwan and United States during her years serving as ambassador to the United States. She had a Taiwanese street food uh, as there was a weekly event in DC. She served those Taiwanese street food, and then tried to meet with U.S. Congressional leaders, government officials, just invite them to enjoy the Taiwanese food. It was amazing. It worked really well, in the 2 years she was here.
So that's what better way to meet
Yeah,
people,
it's a better
right?
way. Yeah. Well, that's the cat fighter's way, right?
Cat fighter's way, yeah. Cat warrior. Yeah, cat warrior
Cat
way.
warrior. Yeah, cat warrior, yes.
And as you and I have talked about over the last few years, what we've seen from China is a wolf warrior mentality that, hey, we're going to come and eat you.
That's
We're
right.
so we're big and we're strong and we're going to come and eat you. And that's the vibe that they put off. And here she responds with the cat warrior mentality. And it takes a different kind of mentality to go up against the Goliath like China, which is just across the fence there, threatening to jump over the fence and get you all the time. Cat warrior.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so it stand up to protect its own interest while they know how to when to fight and when to make a relationship, right? So I think it's been working for Taiwan. It's been pretty good.
I think it's been very good to see the fight. I love to see, how you stand up against something like that. Because standing up to bullies is always something that every mother has to teach their kid, male or female kid, because when you go to school, you have to learn how to stand up to the bullies. And she did a great job of presenting that. So, speaking of the bullies, China's Ministry of State Security has warned that foreign intelligence agencies may be exploiting online pop up ads to collect data, profile users, and conduct what it calls ideological infiltration. What is ideological infiltration? They're trying to sell.
Yeah, they talk about how good the socialist China has been, put good pictures. That's Xi Jinping's direct instruction. Xi Jinping want all these people to tell the world the excellent story about China. His own word is a China story. Make sure everyone knows the excellent China story. That's what they have been doing
And
all around the world, especially in the United States, in the Europe.
they've been waging that good fight. Now, something popped up here very recently that led me to focus on this subject, and that was the European soccer fans that have come to the United States to watch soccer. And I've seen a number of reports discuss how amazed the European fans are at how nice it is to be in the United States because they've always had their press downplaying United States as being a bad place. And
Hmm.
so they come here and enjoy the soccer, and all of a sudden, wow, this is not such a bad place at all. And
That's right.
one of the things I've seen a number of them say is that, wow, we owe you an apology because you're really not what we've been led to believe. You're something else entirely. And so I realized how adverse a press can be.
Yeah,
The impact of the press on how we see things, as presented by those European soccer fans. Hey, this United States isn't a bad place at all. Well,
yeah.
who's been telling them it was a bad place?
Well, there are people doing that kind of work, right? And now China's strategy of dealing with United States and Europe, it's they try to put their united front work to European countries. So they trying to use the European countries on China's side as a bargaining chip to deal with United States. That's what China has been doing. But unfortunately, um, many of these European countries, and even like here, our neighbor Canada, with and also many European countries, those NATO countries, EU countries, they kind of like buy into what China sold to them. They're because it's just simple, their mind still, their logic, their mentality still live under the global economy era, and they're still trying to, apply the DEI to China. I think that's really, that's why they're so many years behind, 3 to 5 years behind the U.S. government's China policy.
Well, it seems like they may be waking up to the fact that they're on the wrong side of the issue. You see, um, I guess it was Germany that made some major economic proposals that there has to be balance in our economy. We have to buy as much as we sell and sell as much as we buy. So
Well, that it's not, see, it's still wrong. I don't think they're getting right. They're still focused on
they still think that they can do that.
yeah, they still can think China consider China as a competitor, not adversary, right?
Yeah.
So now that if you look at Germany, if you look at President Trump's national security strategy published in November of last year, Germany was the only country that got only European country that was mentioned twice, actually twice in that strategy. Why? Because Germany, it's still building some of a couple of world's largest chemical industry plants in China using oils from Russia. That was last year. That's how bad it is. See, you if you think China is competitor, that's how you set the first step in the wrong way, and nothing is going to come up good if you're looking at to solve the things in that direction.
Because as a competitor, you would be like one baseball team playing another baseball team.
That's
That's
right. You are going to talk about rules and regulations,
right.
right? While
Yeah.
China has
Fair
been in
play,
war against us, you are trying to win a war by a legal battle. That's just never going to work.
because they don't have to play by the rules because
That's
they're
right.
not, yeah, they're not in a friendly competition. They're in an existential competition.
Right. So that's why, our European airlines, they're in the very bad position right now dealing with China. I don't know.
Well,
There
one
are there are voices from Germany, mainly because for the people who concern about the security, they kind of voice out those concerns. But however, um, that many German industries like Volkswagen, like
are getting smothered.
right, Volkswagen, and maybe that what was the couple other famous names?
Mercedes,
Mercedes,
BMW,
BMW, and then there's another one that the one that got 5 rings. That what was the
Audi.
Audi? Yes, they all have big factories in China, and there was tremendous amount of business interest with China from Germany. So therefore, that's why they can change their policy in a very effective and quick way.
Well, and we could not either, but we did in a gradual sort of way by changing how we were going about doing business with China. And
Well, because we have President Trump, he just doing the in 20 January of 2018, and he started tariffs on the solar panels from China, January 2018. Yeah, it's January 2018, 25% tariffs on solar panels from China. The trade war, the trade war started, it really started changing the entire U.S. Government's China policy in a very effective and quick way. And also, if you're talking about the policy change, what you really need, it's a proper personnel in the correct position
Yeah.
so that they can lead the change. That
Need a captain of the ship.
yeah. Peter Navarro. You're talking about Peter
Yep.
Navarro as a White House senior economic advisor ever since Trump's first administration. And Peter Navarro actually wrote two books prior to 2016. One is named "The Death Trap" by China. Another one is named "The Coming War on China." So that's all you need to do. You put the right people in the right position, the change will take place. If you keep arguing or debating, nothing is going to happen.
Well, something is happening in the Chinese auto industry, which has come to dominate the electric vehicle sector by a huge segment. They're outselling themselves. They're making so many cars. BYD alone delivered over 1 million cars globally in the first quarter, which is up 59% year on year.
Well, China already make more vehicles than the United States auto industry back in 2023, and you're talking about the electrical vehicles in 2024. The global manufacture total production of EV was 17 million, and China make more than I think it's more than 11 million, it's 11.2 million or something. Basically, China in 2024 already make two-thirds of entire world's EV electrical vehicle. That's
Yep.
what happened. Um, you know,
And now from year on year, China's export of automobiles, EVs, is up 73%. Boom.
yeah.
809,000 passenger vehicles. So they're totally dominating the.
If we don't have we didn't have a policy to stop it. Thank God, and they're not coming to the United States except the Tesla.
Yeah,
The Tesla used to, we
own the
used.
world.
Yeah. But now, not anymore. They already lost. They already lot their EV market to the Chinese EV manufacturers like BYD. Now, because of the tariffs, I don't think the Tesla that's being sold here in the U.S. market are from China anymore, but probably made in Mexico. But however, those EVs made in China, those Teslas made in China, have been sold to the European market.
And to Canada. As a matter of fact, Canada reduced the tariff on Chinese EVs from 100% to 6%. So
Yeah,
that's
well,
like
you just need a policy, a correct policy in place, and then you need before the policy even take place, you need to put the right people.
there's
Uh,
been a lot of stories recently regarding the impact, the influence in environment that China has in Canada. And that would seem to be a pretty good indication that China is winning the hearts and minds of Canada if Canada stops protecting itself from Chinese mercantilism.
That's
And
right. Well, that's what they have. What China have been doing to the United States, right? We in the 90s we start seeing the t-shirts, pants, socks, shoes, sunglasses,
everything.
everything from China, and then gradually those things from China changed from the clothes items to a dishwasher, washer, dryer, uh, and then air conditioning, solar panels, and then it became the batteries and EVs, and then robots, right? And now, thank God, they have not. We have not buying AI from China. That will be a disaster. So, um, you know, China's strategy is really the government subsidy, right?
right?
The EU countries.
We sell more than we buy. Our goal is to dominate industries to the extent nobody can compete with us.
Yeah, it's
Period.
government subsidy, right? There's many studies actually like a BYD, BYD, they got billions of dollars of subsidies from Chinese government each year. I remember 2023 and 2024, based on a German, it's World Economy Institute, I believe. They had a study showing that each year the Chinese government gave the BYD more like a 2.2 billion euros as a subsidy to BYD. You know, BYD pretty much they don't make any money at all by selling their cars. So, but you know, the only money they made was the government subsidy from Chinese government.
Yeah. In order to totally take over the EV industry, which they have, and dominate the world production and sales of EVs.
No, not just the
Period.
EVs, like air
Not
conditioning.
just, but all of
Yeah, air
those
conditioning
important,
is
yeah,
yeah.
all
China,
the important industries.
right, EV now China it's like got a two-third of the entire world's total production, and 80% of air conditioners are made in China, and 80% of solar panels are made in China. So, and the washer, dryer, dishwasher, those are like more than 50% made in China. So, furniture is more than 30%. So you look at those numbers. What Chinese government, see the CCP, it's the government that's able to mobilize the entire nation's resource. So do
And
whatever they
focus
want.
it on important things. In spite of that,
Yep.
in spite of having that incredible power, China's going broke. And one of the big reasons China's going broke is that it has no domestic economy. It's not Chinese people who are buying all of those EVs.
Well,
As a matter of fact, it's getting really hard to sell them because China is reducing the money that they give people to buy them. So it's getting pretty tough to run a domestic economy. When we come back from this break, we're going to talk about why, and we're going to go back in history for a little lesson on Chinese communist economies in terms of Mao's Great Leap Forward. So do stay tuned. This is China Now. Nan Su and Michael Olson, right back.